We did a dramatic presentation on Nikola Tesla, who was an inventor from the 1800s.
But more accurately described as educational rap. And sing along if you'd like. We're going to have the lyrics up on the screen. So if you want to hear some hip hop and learn a little bit about 20th and 19th century inventor, sing along with us. Now this is a story all about how my inventions became world renowned. I'd like to take a minute, so give me some time. Let me, Mr. Tesla, spit a few rhymes.
In Northwest Serbia, where I grew up, where my father preached lots of orthodox stuff, chilling out, just having some fun, thinking of inventions like the plasma guy.
It was right then that I figured it out. Alternating current was the best.
No doubt.
Packed my bag, 2 cent in pocket, went to America ready to rock it.
I worked for Edison day after day. He wasn't told of me, so I didn't stay. A genius, produced great facial hair and electricity that could fly through the air.
Thomas Edison, yo, you're bad. Your inefficient direct current makes me sad. You think DC will light up the night? Well, this is about to be an electric current fight.
1902 and the Watercliff plants, they fell through.
J.P. Morgan, he was being shrewd, so the world didn't get free electricity.
Boo-hoo.
I, in my hotel room, forgotten and sad, everyone living off ideas I had. The government, they took my plans, so after I died, my inventions were in their hands.
Okay, so now I'd like the full PowerPoint to explain the presentation.
Nikola Tesla, the man, the myth, and the legend. By Alien. He was born in Northwest Serbia, where he grew up, and his father preached lots of orthodox stuff.
He came to the U.S. with less than $5 and originally worked as Thomas Edison.
Eventually had to work as a ditch digger in New York, but he continued inventing. Eventually got his own laboratory and began to popularize alternating current. Edison, for publicity, would electrocute animals like elephants in public places with alternating current to kill them, to sort of make people afraid of it.
Yeah, because alternating current uses a much higher voltage than direct current, and so Edison was trying to scare people off with it. And eventually, alternating current won just because it was much more efficient, and like when one light went out, it wasn't on a single system, so when one light went out, the whole system of lights would go out.
And for traveling long distances, it was important. If we had stayed with DC for like main lines, we'd have to have a power, like an energy station for every square mile to keep the energy flowing.
So Tesla began working at Watercliff, which was a tower, and it was focused on beaming and electricity and energy around the world.
But the banker J.P. Morgan, who was funding him, eventually sort of didn't like the idea of free energy, and it just didn't seem like it was a costly idea to start with, and it didn't seem very profitable. So he pulled funding, and the giant Watercliff Tower stood there for a long time, and when they finally demolished it, it was incredibly difficult because it was such a sturdy design.
Yeah, and while like the idea of free energy and beaming it around the world seems really ahead of its time, he had like plans that completely backed it up, and after he died, when the government took all his inventions, they actually started a program called HARP, and it works on the system of beaming energy into the atmosphere.
Also, the Reagan administration's Star Wars thing about basically using particle weapons as anti-nuclear deterrents was also, it's thought that a lot of that it's very, very similar to Tesla's particle beam weapon plans. And even though it never eventually worked, the fact that he thought of it in the early 1900s is incredibly impressive. Here's a picture of Wardenclyffe, which is the laboratory of a massive tower. There's Thomas Edison with his Nikola Tesla with his kingly mustache. Here's him as a younger man without it, obviously less great. There's him in his laboratory beaming giant lightning bolts everywhere, and he's just sitting there reading. Here he is doing the same thing, but in the middle of a cage with electricity everywhere.
Here's another picture of Wardenclyffe. And Walker said it was really, really sturdy, so then they tried to take it down. And here's a portrait of him as like the father of modern day electricity.
This is a picture modern day where someone built their own Tesla coil, put it on top of their car, and basically drives around just shooting lightning bolts around everywhere. Not that you condone that, but it's just an applied way to use electricity to scare off any potential car. And that's J.P. Morgan, as Aiden's so well represented. And there's Thomas Edison, who is basically the antagonist of Nikola Tesla.